welcome to Miss Martin Muses, where we muse upon what makes me laugh, makes me cry, makes me happy, makes me sad, or just really ticks me off. And what really makes me happy is the fact that we are all back. We are back with some more book discussions. What ticks me off is I forgot to plug in my microphone, but that's okay. The sound will improve in a second. And so it is so good to see everyone. It is so good to see everyone after our hiatus or hiatus. Um, what the? As you can see, still have not recovered my brain cells from my break, but that's okay. That's okay. So we are here, joined once again from Rennie. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. How are you, Teresa?
Hey, as you can tell, I'm doing what I'm doing, and it's awfully hot here. And but I do have some coffee. I've got some chocolate chip flavored coffee. So
Yeah, not a travesty at all.
yeah,
Yeah, that sounds lovely.
Yeah.
I'm still got a little bit of cold brew. I had an awesome facial this morning
Ooh.
and a good breakfast. And
I bet your boyfriend was happy.
oh yeah, because if I'm happy, he's happy.
Yeah. Facial and all.
Oh,
Not that kind of facial.
Oh my gosh, that's disgusting. Well,
Don't knock it till you try it, Teresa. No.
No. Oh gosh, no. Okay, never mind.
Kidding.
All right. So, as you can see, once again, we are very mature here at Miss Martin Muses. We are a very mature group of people. We are once again we are doing our book club, and we are joined by all the way from the north and the future. It is the one, the only, the Viking himself, Steve Kenobi.
Hello.
Hi, how's the future?
I don't know, pretty shit as always. But my day's been okay. My hatred level is on at 50%. So it's
Only at 50%?
Yeah, it doesn't dip lower. Well, it's been at 40 at one point, but it was my birthday.
Oh, well, my hatred level has been actually through the stratosphere, so I actually might compete with you here. But what I do not hate is our chat. Yay, it's sort of poopus. We love our animals, especially our polar bears from the north. How are you handling that heat wave up there? I hope your iceberg is not melting. Snort of poopus, and he's saying hello to everyone. He has not read I haven't read the book yet, so I will be content to sit quietly in the corner and feed and learn. Aw. Okay.
Well, you need to read the book. Get the book immediately. eBay now.
You have been commanded. You see, that's the scary thing okay, when Steek says that to me, I actually go and do it. It's like, okay, I've clicked on it. That's how I
know.
All these books.
I feel like I got in trouble whenever he says stuff like that. I'm like, okay, I'm doing it.
Yeah, you were in trouble.
Like, sorry, don't hate me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You got a link and you didn't make use of it immediately.
I know, but I'm stubborn about the way I want to do things. Okay.
How did that go?
Not well.
No.
You ended up using the link, didn't you?
Yes.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Okay, well, hello, Jacob Ironside. Thank you for being here. Always great to see you. It's like I feel like this is a mini reunion. Yeah, he's snuffling. We're all emotional here. Hello, Kelvington. A new book for a new month. Cheers. Yes, thank you. I believe you are also from the future. Help me out here if you are, and tell me how it is up north or up south or down south or wherever you are. Snig scores. Oh my goodness. Well, congratulations, Steek.
Yeah. But here's the thing. It had to do with the goalkeeper. It was a different goalkeeper because whenever I take a penalty, Jesus saves.
What the hell? Hot and humid, says Kellington. Oh, yes. Oh, it's nice and chilly in the icebox. Okay, well, yeah. Well done, icebox, keeping our polar bears warm. Well, so now that we're all here together as one big, happy, dysfunctional family, well, the book that we we are starting. It is the Sword of Shannara. Making sure I say this correctly. It's
Yeah. It's been a debate on how to pronounce it, but Terry Brook says Shannara.
Okay.
So I always thought it was Shannara,
Hmm.
but it's Shannara.
Yeah. Okay. Well, there you are. So with the emphasis on the Shannara, by Terry Brooks. It's a book that was written in the 70s, and several books. I mean, is this series still going on, or did they finish it, Steve?
He wrapped it up a couple of years ago, and
Okay.
he did it well.
Oh, well, there you are. Yeah. Okay. It's 1977, and this was one of those books we were debating. What fantasy series we were going to go to next, and this one kept coming up, and so there. That's why we're here. And I have not read this book at all, and I am ready. You have not either, if I'm correct.
That's correct. So this is my first go round as well. So you and I will be the novices during this. So this should be a fun adventure for us, I believe, in at least. I will be honest, I was a little nervous about it because I'm like, I don't know, I've never read this. And my significant other was like, he's like, you know what though, but you can come with like some fresh new perspectives. And he's like, just give it a shot, read through it, see how you like it. And first chapter was kind of hard, and then I started to really like it. So yeah, I think this is going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Quite often when you start a new fantasy series, the first chapters tend to be the hardest because it's all brand new. You don't know shit going in.
Yeah, and it's like, people just like throwing all this information at you. Now, it's nowhere near on the scale of Tolkien, right? But you're getting all this information thrown at you, or like, just these like first interactions sometimes, and it's like, I don't know how I feel about these characters yet, so
Yeah.
I'll tell you one thing, and it's a slight spoiler. The characters in this book, they only have one fucking name.
Well, that actually is a relief, because I will admit I enjoyed rereading the Silmarillion and everything, but my head was hurting, and so I'm like,
my brain was so fried at the end of that.
Yeah, it was so fried we had to take a month off to regain them. But it was kind of nice to have a linear story so far, and thank you, Steve, because for all I knew, they were going to start changing them. It's like, oh, you think your name is Flint, but actually it's Freyoko, blah blah, and sometimes your mother called you Jerry, and I don't know, all sorts of weird stuff.
Yeah,
like
and
that.
it turns out he was adopted and was previously called Burton.
Yeah. Though we do have an adopted character in here. We do. Indeed.
Yes.
We do.
Yeah. Edwin. Oh, hello, Hound. Yeah, I love it. Oh, look, the Hound and the polar bear are giving each other hugs and nose boops and scritches. Oh, wow. Woof woof kisses and nose boops. Oh wait, Kelvington. Okay. Wow, we're turning into furry heaven here.
Careful, Dave Filoni's going to show up.
Oh gosh.
Oh my god. I can't.
Oh, now they're throwing salmon.
At least nobody's stroking the salmon yet.
I've had too much stress in the last few weeks to be able to handle this.
Pickup line, right? Snatch my salmon upstream, darling.
Quadruped pride. Okay, yes. I'm glad y'all are enjoying each other. Well, I hear you, Rennie, because I also experienced this a little bit when I started the Dragonlance a few months ago. You almost feel like you're in virgin territory. You're like,
yeah,
you don't know where you're stepping.
It's unknown stuff, right? So when you're younger, it's exciting to do stuff like that. But, as you get a little bit, older, and you're no longer in your 20s or, your teens or whatever, you're just like, if I'm not familiar with it, I don't know how I feel about it,
Yeah.
Oh, I never feel like that.
I don't
I'm
know.
always
That's
I just get excited, but you know, I'm a
I'm
young
old
man.
and set in my ways.
Yeah,
But
I fear change.
yeah, same here. See, maybe it's a lady thing. I don't know, but like, yeah.
Oh well. Thank you, Rennie Kelvington, saying that Rennie mentioned the show is going to be out, so here I am. Well, thank you, appreciate it,
Excellent.
appreciate it. Yeah.
You
Well,
need to melt that damn Baby Yoda though.
Oh gosh, you guys, he sent me this thing the other day of a Baby Yoda thing that he wants to buy, and I was like, why? Why would you do that?
well, I think I've shown you the picture of a Baby Yoda little doll that I had made my mother,
Oh
and,
yeah.
and that she is she's blind pretty much, and
Oh, so she
she
probably liked it then.
oh.
Stig! Oh my god.
Hey, it's okay. She thinks those jokes are funny too. But what was funny was when I went to visit her several months ago, and there's a cord wrapped around his neck and a toothpick in it with the cord. I'm like, what the heck did you do to Baby Yoda? And she's like, I really wanted something to put my earbuds on, and I just kind of found the first thing, and it's like, oh, this'll work. She knew what it was, and she's like, well, okay. So she's been using it as a thing to keep her earbuds, but it looks like she tortured and mutilated the thing. It looks like she strangled. I'll bring up the
Poor
picture again
thing.
some other time. Yeah, it's all wrapped. The cord's all wrapped around him, and where she put the toothpick, it's like right between his eyes, and it's like, it's almost as good as the one I made for Ryan. Let's see. Jacob Ironside says, "I'm just glad that the idiot teenager in early 20 years are over."
Right? At least for me, I get that.
I
Yeah,
hated the
my
20s.
idiot teenager is gone too, but it's been replaced by a different idiot. I fear.
Oh,
I just do other dumb things now.
well,
I mean, I can't say that I haven't done anything dumb in these years. We'll just say that.
yeah. Well, my 20s just sucked because you know how it is. It's like, what am I, you're trying to find yourself, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And
And
things
everything's like so dramatic.
yeah. And just other circumstances. I have found my 30s and my 40s, especially the 40s. 40s have been a friggin' blast. It's been fantastic. So, speaking of who is not in their 40s, it is Flick. Wait, what is his name?
Yeah,
Flick
it's
Omsford.
Flick Umsford. Yeah.
Yeah. And the way he starts off the whole thing, he says, the sun was already sinking into the deep green of the hills to the west of the valley, the red and gray pink of its shadows touching the corners of the land when Flick Omsford began his descent.
Yeah. Good start to a book, isn't it?
Yeah.
And this is something I've always noticed about Terry Brooks. Whenever characters are traveling, he is great at describing nature and whatever is around them.
Yeah, and he paints a picture, really well.
Yeah.
Though it's a bit of a long sentence. I don't know.
Apparently, that was Brooks's least favorite thing to write when characters are traveling. So later on in the series, they get airships. That's why he has the airships, to save the travel writing.
Well, couldn't you have just fast traveled them? Like,
yeah, that's
true.
true.
A month later.
Yeah,
no.
No.
You do that in D&D, in the Conan.
Yeah, I have to, because you guys want to know what the fucking butcher's name is.
Hey, those are important details. The story opens is great. Yes. I struggled through this first chapter. I mean, it's really weird because, again, I think I'm just like Rennie. I fear change, and I'm like, oh gosh, I don't know who these people are. I'm getting used to it. We've got a little bit of a map, but it's not the best one. But Steve has a better map. Let me see if I can share that here. There it is. A better map than they have actually in the book. Share. Can I do this? Oh, wait. Oh, I always have to narrate my life, don't I? Let's see. So is it this? It is this. Here it is. So here's the
Third
map.
link.
Yeah, I got it. I got it. So here is the map of the world that we're in, and when the book opens up, we're in the southwest corner in that little clump of trees there in the shady vale. So it took me a
Yeah.
second to figure.
Right next to where it says Southland.
That's a cool map, Steve.
Here's the thing. I used to work for a D&D company, and I did a lot of work with maps too. This map, in hindsight, looks bad because look at the rivers.
Yeah.
You have 3 exit points from the Rainbow Lake near the middle. That's not how it works, because water will always exit through the lowest point possible, right?
Oh,
Yeah. But
And
at the time, I'm sure they didn't think of it.
rivers don't split like that too. Rivers will come together and form, a bigger one, but they never split.
okay. No, I know what you're talking about. Okay, I can see on some of these. You see, now that he's pointing it out, I can't unsee it. I know you verbally told me, but yeah, that some of
Yeah.
these rivers just aren't right.
Yeah, and you'll see that in a lot of fantasy books where you see the maps, stuff like that.
Yeah, like the way it's supposed to. The Rainbow Lake one. That's all. That's what caught my eye here. Where it's like, wait a second.
Yeah.
Yeah. On the other hand, it's nice. Well, this one's in color. In the book, it's black and white and not as detailed. It just says the Southland and the Shady Vale. It's not. This is better.
I do believe you can get a good print of the map too on Terry Brooks's website and maybe Amazon as well.
Oh, sure you can.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. Well, and this just also reminded me that something that is a staple for a lot of fantasy and world building is you got to have a map. You got to let these people know where you are. And once you pointed that out to me, Steve, when there isn't a map, I feel really off. It's like,
Yeah.
I never realized why, because I couldn't put it to a.
Well,
words.
the map serves, in my opinion, two purposes. It shows you the world and where the characters are, and where they're going to, if they know where they're going to, right?
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
But it also triggers the imagination of the reader, because right now we're in the Shady Vale. But then if you look at the map, you'll see, Coalhaven, right? You'll be wondering what that place is like. Or if they're going there, or, stuff like that, right?
Yeah.
So you will already start thinking about the world in a sense, and you'll have expectations for it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hmm.
No, good point. But I will say this, though, that there was one map that you even had to warn me about in one of the Feist books, where there's actually a spoiler in one of the maps, because there was like a shipwreck that they had on the map, and all these dudes were going to be on the shipwreck, and I think you had told me don't look at the map yet.
Yeah.
So sometimes it's like
it was the extra map of the new area.
It precisely. So sometimes I think they need to be careful. It's like, hey, but don't give anything away. It's like, it's one thing to tease us. It's another thing to spoil us.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. But what is it? Sword of Poopa said, rivers like infinities never split. Or infinitives. Oh my gosh, I cannot read.
It's okay.
That made no sense. Like infinity.
I will say, for me, I really enjoy having, I don't know, I really enjoy books that come with maps, because it's hard for me to imagine the terrain that they're going through or the distance that they're really traveling without actually seeing it. So I really enjoy having maps for these kind of stories.
Mhm.
Yeah, and you know the Witcher books,
Hmm.
they don't have a map, which is really bad because there's a lot of this kingdom is warring with this kingdom,
Yeah.
and without a map, right?
Yeah.
But you know, the Witcher series is great. The books, they're fantastic. But after I think it's 8 books all in all, and there's still not a map in them. The video game people made the map,
Oh, that's
Yeah.
which
interesting.
yeah, and that's a good map because it's accurate, and the author approved it. But I mean,
It should
he
have
should
been.
have had a map.
Yeah. Hound 3000 says, "Is the Shannara series really good?" Well, I'm only in the first 3 chapters so far. It's good. I think Steve, you'd be a better
I
person to.
I would say, well, it's almost 40. I think it's 40 books total, right? So
Mhm.
not all of it's going to be great, but I think the early stuff, for me, that's the sweet area. So the first trilogy, which we're doing now, is I'd give that a 9 out of 10 because it just delivers, you know.
Hmm.
And this book though has been accused of ripping off the Lord of the Rings, and you will see why. And Terry Brooks even admitted it. Yes, it's too close to the Lord of the Rings. I get it. You know, he owned it, but it wasn't intentional though. But it's still there.
Yeah.
But book 2 and 3 and the next, 30 something books are completely not like anything else.
Oh, okay. And I think we've had this discussion too before that there's such a thing as blatantly copying, and sometimes, especially when you're dealing with the fantasy genre, you're going to be repeating certain tropes or certain
Yeah.
things.
The thing with Terry Brooks though, he didn't set out to write fantasy. He set out to write adventure stories, and he figured out that the fantasy genre lent itself better to the
Hmm.
adventure stories, right?
Mhm.
And he was actually inspired by Faulkner, not Tolkien. But like I said, he said it flat out. But it's too close to Tolkien, the first book. It is. But since he actually owns it, I'm going to give him a pass because
Yeah.
that takes a hell of a lot of balls.
Well, yeah, that's accountability
Admitting
right
that,
there.
yeah, my work is too close to Tolkien's story.
Yeah. And maybe not just balls, but also humility, maybe.
Yeah,
And
Yeah.
instead of going and attacking people and kind of
yeah,
racist,
because
sexist,
he,
homophobes, whatever.
he's basically accused of ripping off the grandfather of a whole genre.
Yeah.
So naturally, most people would get defensive.
Yeah, and
He
he didn't.
didn't.
No. Yeah. No, well done. I mean, and mad respect to him for that. And yeah, Hound 3000 is impressed. 40 books. Wow. And Jacob, yes. Jacob says, Jacob Ironside, I binged the whole book and I'm rereading it for the show. I thought it was great. Wow. Well, amazing. Well,
Yeah,
thank you.
and
Oh,
well, I have a question for you though, Jacob. I'm sure you notice similarities with the Lord of the Rings, but would you say it's different enough to be its very own thing?
Oh, okay. Well, we'll
that's a
we'll
good
wait for his
question.
answer. Yeah, I'll be interested. Yeah, and I know that Jacob, you've definitely been into it. You see, and that's what makes my stone cold heart melt a little bit when I hear that what I'm doing here on these little Saturday shows is getting people to read some fantasy maybe that they hadn't heard of and then enjoy it. I mean, my gosh, isn't that amazing? What that just really warms my heart. So
Yeah,
thank you
and
for letting us know.
I, I I can tell you this much: the second book in this series is one of my all-time favorite books,
Dang.
Oh,
and that one is a more personal story, I guess. and it has a love story in it.
Yay! We
So,
love love stories, precious.
yep.
Okay. Um. Well, there you have it. Yeah, that's great, and I'm glad. And even rereading it, wow. Well, what happens is a little Flick Omsford is going along, and he bumps into uh some very big stranger. Very big and very intimidating, and what was he they describe he's like what 7 feet tall.
Yeah, he's like freaking huge.
Speaking of someone who's not freaking huge, Wilkins is in the chat.
Oh no.
That's why I started laughing. I just saw his comment.
Yeah, and he's spelled ogre wrong.
Oh. Well, oh, actually, that is correct. That's not. But hey, you know what, Matt?
It's Wilkins, so
Oh no.
low expectations.
Oh no. Oh, everyone's saying hello to Matt Wilkins. Oh, thank you, Matt, for being here. It's always great to see you. We all need to hang out again sometime. Oh.
Yeah, I keep missing his streams.
Mm-hmm.
I'll wake up and I'll check YouTube and it says Wilkins has been live, 2 hours ago, and I'm like, shit, missed it.
Yeah. And I got to get you that energy drink that you want that you can't get over there where you live. Okay. Oh, Jacob has answered. I thought it was on the line of being too close to Tolkien, but just enough difference. Okay.
Yeah, I'll agree with that 100%.
Yeah. Sort of Poop says only 7 feet tall. Well, yeah, I guess if you're a big polar bear. Okay. And if I'm correct, here we go. Let me find. Yeah, I've got a picture here of this encounter that Stieg shared with me. Let me bring it up because I think this art is just amazing. And when I saw it, I was like, "Oh my gosh, that is exactly how I imagined this whole thing. Look at that." Look at that.
Yeah.
So he's just walking along, singing a song, living his life, and then he gets this encounter, and he's saying, "Was it most frightening were the stranger's eyes, or rather the deep dark caverns beneath the shaggy brows, where his eyes should be? A deeply lined countenance seemed carved from stone." But then, as they're trucking along, singing the song or whatever, not literally, because it's not Lord of the Rings, suddenly he goes, "Silence, run now, not a sound." And then that's when some ominous thing shows up.
Yeah, something flies over them. And
Yeah.
the thing I noticed with this encounter is that, it's getting dark, and he's in a very thick forest. So it's darker in the forest, right?
Yeah.
So imagine walking along a path, and it's dark, and it was windy too, and raining, I think. But no, it wasn't raining, but it was windy. But and then something big, dark, and 7 feet tall stands up right in front of you. That's directly playing on people's fear of the dark.
Oh, yes.
I know I'd probably either, fight or flight, I'd go into one of those modes.
Yeah. Yeah, no thank you. Yeah, well, and that was good writing because, well, first of all, my imagination had seen something, and then when I saw this picture, it was like, oh, wow, that's some damn good art there.
There's also, the Hildebrandt brothers, who did a lot of Tolkien artwork back in the day. They also did a lot of Shannara artwork.
Oh.
So I can share those later on when we get to the scenes.
Oh, that'd be great.
That are depicted. But I believe this picture might be from the they released like a huge collector's edition illustrated a few years ago, which costs about $100.
Wow. Okay. But this creature thing, he found himself gasping for breath, and a vision passed sharply before him of a black image laced with red, of clawed hands and giant wings, of a thing so evil that its very existence threatened his frail life. Yeah, see, that's where I had ring wraith vibes there, except it's like a flying dementor kind of thing. I don't know,
Yes,
but
that's exactly what I was thinking. Something similar to a Dementor and a ring wraith. I took the words out of my mouth.
You'll find out what it is in chapter 4, actually.
mm-hmm.
So next week.
Yay.
Yay.
And then he's like, what was that terrible thing? And he's like, just a shadow. And he goes, we'll speak of it later. Right now, I would like some food and a warm fire before I lose all patience. I'm like, yes, because that's what I love about some of these fantasy books. It makes you want to go get a hot stew with a steaming mug of, I don't know, something hot and tea and sit by a fire. Very cozy. And look who's here. Good day, peoples. Good to see you all, says Tyrone Beard. Yes.
Oh,
Everyone's woofing and kissing him.
hottest guy in the chat.
I think, the reason why you want to eat a hot meal while reading fantasy and stuff, it always happens when they're talking about it or when they get inside an inn, right?
Yeah, that
And
does happen a lot.
I think it has to do with immersion. If a good writer's writing, you're basically on the journey with the characters. And if you've ever been outside in bad weather for a long time and you get back inside and there's hot soup on the table or something, it just tastes 50 times better. Uh-huh. So I think it triggers that a bit.
Yeah. Good point. Yeah. And speaking of which, this inn, how cozy. It was large, consisting of a main building, lounging porch, huge logs, shingle roof. This particular roof much higher than those of family dwelling. It was well lighted. Muffled voices could be heard within. The wings of it were in darkness. That's where the sleeping quarters were, and the smell of roasting meat permeated the night air.
Yeah,
so
roasting meat when you come inside
Steve.
from a long walk, right?
Yes.
Yeah. I pictured kind of like a log cabin with like a cement slab, but like a huge one, like that's got like, different wings and stuff to it. I'm like, that sounds like a really cool building.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And of course, we find out a little bit of exposition that his dad, his father owns the inn, and that his brother, who the stranger guy had referred to a little bit, his name is Shay. And I'm not sure why Tyron has to run for his life, but okay. Here in the chat. And
it's an inside joke. Kelvington's always telling him to run away from me. Go, run.
Okay. and we know that he definitely has an interest in this Shay, because they mentioned it, when he was out walking. It's like, oh, you have a brother, and then it's like, oh, where's your brother, or something, and then just casual comments.
Oh no, he said you have a brother.
Yeah. He didn't ask. He says it, and it's just like, well, damn, how did you know that?
Well, yeah, that's what I'm saying is okay, maybe I misspoke. Because he said, then he's like, how do you know I have a brother? And he's like, oh, well, don't most people have brothers?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like he's a bit of a creeper here. And then when we get to the inn, it's like, oh yeah, the author gives us having Flick ask after his brother. So, and the dad's like, oh, Shay's, gone for an errand and stuff. So they're pointing us toward the Shay character. And I don't know, it does a good job of piquing our curiosity. It's like, first of all, how does he know about Shay, this stranger guy? And why, and what's important about him, and what makes him special? So it kind of keeps you turning the page.
I will be honest with you. When he kept saying, or when it kept saying in the book, his dad and Shay, I thought Shay was a woman, and that was like his dad's like wife, and maybe or his stepmother, until it said that was his brother, and I was like, that's an interesting name. I've never heard that used for a male before, so that should be interesting.
Oh. Well, I think for me the spelling maybe made it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's true.
Yeah. And Shay's kind of like, don't believe we've met, and yet you seem to know me from somewhere, and I have the strangest feeling that I should know you. And then the stranger, the dark face, says, perhaps you should know me, though it is not surprising you do not remember. But I know who you are indeed. I know you well. It's like stranger danger. Yeah, okay. And then it says Shay was dumbfounded at this reply and stood staring at him. And I would be like, police. Oh, but it was fierce, dramatic though, because then the stranger reached up and pulls back the cowl of his cloak to reveal clearly the dark face, now framed by long black hair and cut neatly at shoulder length, and deep set eyes, which still showed only his black slits in the shadows beneath the heavy brows. My name is Al-Anon, he announced quietly. And I was like,
I always thought if they had made a movie in the early 90s, Christopher Lee would have been perfect.
oh, hell yes.
Because of the voice and, the eyebrows and everything.
Oh,
Plus
absolutely.
he's tall.
He's got that good sinister look. He's always had that really good sinister look,
Yeah.
Yeah. And, I got to admit, that was kind of a cool moment. And then everyone is just shocked because apparently this guy is kind of famous. He was it a historian, a philosopher, teacher, and some even said practitioner of the mystic arts, had been seen everywhere from the darkest havens of Anar to the forbidden heights of the Charnel Mountains. Again, kind of referring to that map, just intriguing us to think about the larger world in which they are living. And his name was familiar to even those in the isolated Southland. And said, this is horrible. And so he goes, Aladdin smiled warmly for the first time, but inwardly he felt pity for them. The quiet existence they had known for so many years was finished. In a way, it was his responsibility. What brings you here? Shay asked at last. And he goes, you, Shay. I came looking for you. Oh my gosh. Again. Oh my. So once again, sorry, stupid private chat. My gosh.
I know.
Yeah, but also, what a way to end. And I've noticed that he does a good job of ending the chapters with almost these cliffhangers, because then you're like, shit, now I've got to go on to the next page. It's like, but come on, this stranger is it's like, I've been looking for you, only you. and I think, isn't that what that other picture you have for me, Steve, or is that from the next morning?
It's from when they're outside.
When they're outside.
Yeah, in chapter 2.
In chapter 2, that's what I thought. Okay, so I won't put up that picture yet. All right, so that ends chapter 1, and I think we've kind of talked a lot about it. But before we move on to chapter 2, I didn't know if there was anything, Rennie, you wanted to say about what we've had so far.
Yeah. So chapter 1 was a little hard for me to kind of go through at first, but I will say that kind of the reveal of Al-Anon was very similar for me, or at least it drew a parallel to me for Aragorn and the Prancing Pony, even though we don't know Aragorn's name yet at that point. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I thought that was kind of interesting. Yeah. But it's kind of cool because it's like I want to say it's chapter 1. It could be chapter 2, but he's like, I'm not here for Flick. I'm here for Shay. I'm like, oh damn, things just got interesting. So, I don't know. It was pretty cool. And you know, it had a little bit of mystery to it, but you just didn't really know who this guy was, you know, just yet. But yeah.
Well, no, that's good. And you know, I started to go through the first few pages, but kind of by the time I got to that point when they're at the end and everything, I'm like, okay, we know there's a little bit going on. We know what we're pointing to, and obviously we're going to learn more about this Shay character.
Yeah, it's about to get real.
Yeah, it's about to get long-winded, actually, but that too. Steve, anything you want to add before we move on?
No, I think it's a perfectly excellent first chapter because it sets up one main character and it adds the mystery of another one, which will keep you going, right? And you also have a dramatic scene in two dramatic scenes. This is stuff flying above them, and you also have Flick running into Alanon in the forest, and we don't know who that is. It could be an assassin for all we know at that point, right?
Yeah.
So it has something that'll keep you turning the pages, and it ends with a cliffhanger, which will make you want to read chapter 2. You know.
Yep.
Yeah.
And then we'll get to know more about Flick in chapter 2, right? Who is seemingly very important.
Flick, you're talking about Shay.
Yeah, Shay. Sorry.
Yeah, that's okay. I mean, Flick is kind of, Yeah, and speaking of which, I'm going to take advantage of you, Steve, because this chapter was a hard one for me, only because there was so much information, and so it was kind of hard to condense. But what ends up happening here is Shay gets up extra early, and holy crud, the fire crackled and snapped at the wood as Shay relaxed in the high chair. I mean, gosh, it just again makes me immersed in here. And he spends a little bit of time thinking about what might be going on. And then we learn about Shay is the fact that he was not a full brother, that he had been adopted, and he had been told that his birth was just a small Westland community. His father had died, and his mother kept him and returned with him, and that he was actually half elven, rather. And when he was 5, she brought her here, and the Kurzad, which is their father, adopted them, and they were raised as brothers, which got me thinking, okay, yeah, all right. So the dude's adopted. There's more to this going on, and maybe that's what's going on with Alanon. And then Alanon pops up.
And this is where I have a little bit of problem with the book.
Mm-hmm.
Because the last book ended with Alanon tossing off his, hood and saying, "Yeah, I'm a Alanon, a famous historian, wizard, what have you, magic user," right?
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
And then after that, Shay wakes up in the morning. So I'm like, did he just say his name and that he's an historian and a magic user and then leave?
Yeah.
Because
you're right.
You would think he would talk to them after saying that and divulge some information, but seemingly no. He
was
went to
tired.
bed. Yeah, it's like, I mean, if someone shows up and says, "I'm a Merlin," a famous magician and historian and blah blah blah, and then okay, I'm off to bed.
I would have been pissed.
Well, yeah, and he was also, he said, "And I'm here for you," but it does say that he refused to say any more. So they did try, I guess, to get him to say something, and he had refused to say anything more on the subject after that one declaration. Yeah, so he dropped that bomb. "I'm here for you," finished the dinner, and said, that further talk should wait till next morning, and he shut up and went to bed, and they couldn't get him to say one more word.
Yeah, it doesn't make that much sense if you think about it.
No. To be honest, he should have then just gone to bed and then dropped the bombshell the next morning.
Yeah.
It's like, I'm going to bed, good night, and then woken up and said, hi, Shay, I'm here for you.
But
Just had to have
we
a
should
mic
keep in
drop.
mind that this is someone's first book as well. So there's bound to be a little bit of quirky mistakes, kind of.
Yeah. Yeah, and then he catches up to him. And then this is where I had...
And this is where the picture is from, too, the second one.
Oh, yeah, let me go ahead and put that up. But I had trouble here because I knew what was coming. He's like, do you know the story of the skull of the blah, 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 and this, and the history of the last 5,000 years? Well, let's just do a review. And I'm like, oh,
Yep.
no.
And this is a classic trope, I guess, from a lot of fantasy books, especially older ones. You'll get an exposition chapter.
Yeah.
That explains what's going on. Usually it's chapter 1, and it's chapter 2. Yeah. I mean, even Tolkien did it when Gandalf is talking to Frodo about the ring.
True, but this one was a doozy. Oh my gosh.
Yeah,
it
was a lot.
I was just like halfway. I was a few pages in, and I'm just like, I don't understand. I actually had to reread this portion because.
Well, basically, what happens is he tells him a bit of history, right?
Yeah.
And long ago, men basically fucked up the world. Men being humans.
Yeah.
And by basically getting arrogant, getting too civilized maybe, and then you had elitism kick in, and then weapons, right? So things got screwed up. Yeah. And the world got destroyed. Even the whole the mountains and everything shifted. It went properly to hell, right? Mm-hmm. But some humans survived, and the ones that fled underground turned into dwarves through evolution. Mm-hmm. And the trolls appeared and all that. And then they started rebuilding little pieces of civilization, which is kind of what it is now. You have little patches, as cities are ruled not by necessarily a king. So they basically have city-states rather than countries at this point. But then basically the wise men, known as druids, who started serving as, diplomats and teachers and what have you. The smartest ones of them discovered magic, right?
Yeah.
And then we see the thing happening again, elitism. They started thinking about their own power rather than what's good for everyone else. Individual in front of the group, right?
Yep.
Which led to kind of like an uprising. Some of the druids broke out, and they were led by a druid named Brona, who also goes by the name of the Warlock Lord. And a spoiler, that's the big baddie.
Yeah, well, I figured.
And, there was
I had an idea.
And there was a big war. He used trolls and gnomes in his army and supernatural creatures. But the dwarves and the elves and the humans fought him off. And an elven king named Sword of Shannara managed to defeat the Warlock Lord, seemingly, by using a magical sword. And the Warlock Lord has not been seen or heard from ever since. And now he's still alive, right? And he's looking for Shay because there's like a prophecy thing that the blood of Shannara will kill him
Mhm.
with a sword, and Shay is the last descendant of that bloodline.
Dun dun dun. That's why he's looking for him.
Yeah,
And I mean, sucks to be him. He's just some orphan minding his own business. Is like, well, your dad is like how many generations? Because I guess they passed the famous sword to what Shannara gave it to his son, I guess, and they gave it to the Druid Council, where the
yeah,
blade
and
was
it
set in a huge block. Yeah,
set in the stone, classic sword in the stone, right?
yeah,
Yeah, that's what
And
I thought of. Yeah.
yeah, and the Druid's keep. His name is called Paranor. It's also on the map near the middle, and that's where the sword is. Basically, waiting for a descendant of Shannara to kill off the big bad.
yeah. And I love it though because there would just be a little interruption. He's like, "Let me continue the story."
Yeah.
Yeah.
But like I said, you'll find a chapter like this in most of the old fantasy books.
Yeah.
I mean, I think even Narnia has it. Lion, Witch, and the Wardrobe.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I think was it Tumpkin and some of those. Yeah, that they did tell some of what was going on because they had to. And Narnia, sorry, not Narnia, Aslan did that as well. And in the middle of it, that's where the scene reminded me of the Sam because it turned out that Flick was listening in and
Well, he wasn't listening in. He showed up
well, yeah, okay, rather,
and wanted to listen in. And Alanon said, "Well, if you do, you've made a choice, right?"
Yep.
okay, understood. I stand corrected. And then he says, "I have no idea what you're talking about, but Shay and I are brothers, and what happens to one must happen to both. If he's in any trouble, I should share it with him. It is my own choice."
Yeah. And Alanon warns him, "You might come to regret that
Yeah,
in the coming days." And spoiler, yeah, he will.
of course. Well, no good deed ever goes unpunished. um, but you got to admire it, and I really feel like the brotherly love between the two that they have, and Al-Anon whatever was not very pleased when Shay kind of was saying it's kind of a fairy tale and all that. He's like, fool, you know so little, children. And he also got it. Sorry.
I think that's a good thing that they are skeptical.
Yes.
Instead of quite often in fantasy stories, the hero or whatever will just blindly accept it.
Yeah, that's
Like,
true.
Like,
Yeah.
oh my God, we need to stop this.
Yeah.
Like, what if he's lying?
Yeah,
Yeah.
you got that a lot from Shay. It's like, yeah, right, whatever. Yeah, I think that was
Yeah.
kind of a cool perspective to have instead of like, oh, I don't know you, but I totally believe everything that you're saying. Let's do
Yeah.
it. You know?
Yeah, he was skeptical, but also reasonable
Yeah,
because
exactly.
he did believe some of it that he knew was true.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, and it makes sense, for example, in the Lord of the Rings, because Frodo had already had an established relationship with Gandalf. He was a
Yeah.
friend of the family over generations, so that they trusted him. But in this case, skepticism makes sense, and also he called him out for some of the bias. That Shay and them were kind of like, well, the men, didn't do anything wrong and all that, and he's like, you fools, men have been just as bad as everyone else. So you feel a little bit of that as well. A little bit of the long defeat kind of thing that
Yeah.
Tolkien would talk about, that basically everybody sucks. Well, yeah,
No, that's a good analogy, you know?
yeah, it's everyone is tempted. Everyone is, no one is perfect. Everyone is fallen. That would be the language he would use. Um, so, Shay then goes, but I didn't even know of the sword. I did not even know who I was or anything. And Aladon's like, it doesn't matter. If you are dead, there can be no doubt about you.
Dang.
Yeah. It's like, but I do relate to him. It's like, come on, why me? I just want to, I don't want people to come after me. See, there are so many, is like, what do you suggest I do? And Alanon goes, for the moment, do nothing. There's no immediate danger to you. Think about what I have told about you, and we will speak further of the implications another time. And part of me is like, thanks, but no thanks.
Right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And then, but then you realize that this guy's not a jerk. He goes, Alanon, he says, I did not mean to be harsh with you. He smiled gently, quite unexpectedly. But if this is the worst thing that happens in the days to come, you should be glad indeed. You are faced with a very real threat, not a fairy tale that can be laughed away. Nothing about any of this will be fair to you. You will learn much about life that you will not like. And then, and then he disappears. But thank you, Steve. Yeah, I'm thank you for that summary, because I would have had a hard time narrowing all that down because I'm just too new to this mythos. So they now know that Shay is, well, a king, right? I mean, he's the last heir
from
Well-
a line of kings. Yeah.
Well, he's from a line of kings, but there's no. The elves have a new king, so it's not like he's going to inherit a throne.
Okay. Yeah. But he's from that line of Shannara and
Yeah.
can wield the thing, and that's why the big baddie wants to come.
Yeah,
Get him.
he's unvaccinated.
Oh no. Oh no.
Oh, well, it's a good thing my channel's not monetized or even closed. No one's going to care. So once I understood what was going on, and once I read it, I did read this twice. I felt much better about the world building and the direction in which we were going. I think that he did a good job of showing the brothers, the loyalty they have to each other, and also the peril that they're in, and showing the wider world into which these characters are going to find themselves.
Yeah, as far as info dumping chapters, this one was a good one. It's it's probably not the most exciting thing to read.
No.
Chapters like this, but they're always kind of necessary, aren't they?
Yes.
Yeah, because it'll
'Cause
pay
if
off
you're-
later.
Yeah, because it's better to know the basics as early as possible rather than to get through half a book and go, what's this about?
Well, I thought it was kind of cool to get that explanation of the races. Like when you read like how trolls actually came into being, so to speak, they were actually humans that went and dwelled in caves and wound up losing their day sight for a while and shrinking to adapt to it. It's just really cool. It's like, oh, so that's how trolls came to be in this
dwarves.
universe, right? Or was it? Oh, I'm sorry, dwarves.
Yeah.
Wrong word. But yeah, it was really cool, like to see how dwarves came into being in this world. So that was kind of neat for me, and to hear Alanon's explanation of things, and basically this is like our post-apocalyptic future is what it sounds like. So it's kind of interesting.
Yeah, there has been written prequels that go further back than the actual prequel, because he tied this into another series later on. Perfectly, by the way. But yeah, basically this world is our world.
Yeah.
After a nuclear holocaust of insane dimensions.
After
And then
Decimation.
thousands and thousands and thousands of years have passed, and this is what we have now, right? So this is actually futuristic fantasy, technically.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like we bombed ourselves back to the Stone Ages, if you will.
Yeah, pretty
Yeah.
much, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Which I think is a very cool perspective, and this certainly sets this story apart from the Lord of the Rings.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sort of Poopus says, you have a great adventure lies ahead. There are desperate people to save and kingdoms to be restored. By the way, have you had your booster shot?
Yep.
Yeah, that would be today. Jacob Ironside says, radiation turns people into trolls, gnomes, and dwarves.
Yeah, pretty much.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, right?
Oh, yeah. That makes sense.
Well, it makes sense in this book, not in general.
Oh, no.
Let's test
like-
it out.
You
No.
see a midget on the street and go, "Hey, you must be radioactive, sir."
Oh, gosh, no.
Yeah, but you run into the wrong person, might think you're hitting on them. I'm just saying. You're like, why, thank you.
Oh gosh. Well, that reminds me of that's an elf. Call me elf one more time.
He's an angry elf.
Exactly. Yeah, Tyrion. So yeah. No, it's fun stuff. Talking about it now, now it's like, oh gosh darn it, now I want to know more. I'm starting to see now why that this is page turner material. By this point I was page turning on this. I wanted to see what happened next, and I can see, as Jacobs was saying, like, what he already read through the whole book and he rereading it already. I mean, yeah, it's good. And but this was his debut novel, if I am correct, Steve. Terry Brooks.
Yeah, first thing he ever wrote.
Yeah, I could see how it, launched him into the fame that he now has. Jacob Ironside says, "You're radioactive hot stuff." Yeah, and nice one, Steve. Yeah. Hound says, "We are all radioactive." Well, yes, we are. Makes us special. And speaking of once again, Alanon disappearing, going on to chapter 3, they're like, oh, let's go see Alanon. And of course, he's completely gone. But there's a letter. And he's like, something horrible has happened. You must be ready.
Also, this is something I noticed. This explains why he kind of was in a hurry. So he didn't tell everything the day before.
Oh.
Because he left stuff out, right? Remember that? He said,
yeah,
that's a story for another time. We don't have time or something.
Yeah, he did say that.
And then the next day he's gone. So there's actually a reason for it. It's not just convenience.
Yeah. Okay. Yep. And he goes, should your safety be threatened, you will find shelter at Coalhaven in the Force of Anar. I will send a friend to guide you. Place your trust in Balinor. Which that name did make me think Lord of the Rings is like, was it Boromir, Valinor, whatever?
Yes.
It had a bit of a ring. Oh gosh, I didn't mean to do that.
It was very familiar.
Yeah, it was very familiar. And I said a ring, so I was like, so just kill me now. He said, speak with no one of our meeting. The danger to you is extreme. It's like, I hope you're feeling better, kid. And then he gives them a travel cloak. I have placed a small pouch which contains 3 elf stones. They will provide you with guidance and protection when nothing else can. Be cautioned, they are for Shay alone and to be used only when all else fails. So you have like the magic stuff that they're getting now. The the gifts, if you will, that make a part of these kind of stories. Like, here, this will protect you. Here, this is something that you need. So we have elf stones, but they're only to be used and only when all else fails. And then he also gives the sign of the skull will be your warning to flee. May luck be with you, my young friend, until we meet again.
Also, the name of the second book is Elf Stones of Shannara.
Yeah, so da da da. So now, yeah, we have elf stones. We have I guess magic. It sounds like they're magic protection.
You'll figure out when he figures out, basically.
Yeah. Well, I'm looking forward to it. And we have a destination that they're supposed to go to, and we have a man. We're going to look for Bolinier. The flick
Balinor,
is
even. Balinor, I don't know who that is.
Maybe that's his like brother or cousin or something.
There
Imagine,
you go.
though, if Balinor shows up and wants to talk to them, and then like, is your name Balinor? He's like, no. Well, then we don't have anything to talk to you about, sir.
Yeah, go away. We hate you.
Yep.
Oh my gosh. Well, and oh my gosh. Okay. Sorry about that, everyone. I can't say names apparently. Flick was being all skeptical. It's like, I don't trust him. Skulls and elf stones. I've never even heard of a place called Coalhaven. I don't like it. And then they get out the stones. They are 3 dark blue stones, each the size of an average pebble, finely cut and glowing brightly into the candlelight. And so he's like, well, he was right about the stones. And then Flick he's very suspicious. He's like, maybe they're elf stones, maybe they're not.
The thing about Flick that we've kind of learned so far, if you're not related to him, he doesn't like you.
Oh.
And he doesn't trust you or anything. He's just, he likes his dad and his adopted brother. That's it.
Well, and that's fair, I guess, because comes by it honestly, maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because the world's full of jerks.
And it's also a clever bit of writing, which is something they did in X-Files. You have one character that's very open-minded, and the other one's a skeptic. So they will always bounce off each other.
Yeah.
To get the points of the story across, right? For the plot.
Mm-hmm.
And in the X-Files, though, they did it in a way where Mulder believes in everything supernatural and Scully doesn't because she's a scientist. But then on the flip side, she is religious and believes in that stuff, but Mulder doesn't. Which was always kind of brilliant, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Because it opens up for very good exposition through dialogue when they're discussing their differences.
Oh, that is interesting.
Because they're both making a case for the opposite, point.
Yeah. And then as people are discovering that or listening to the dialogue, it's giving you insight into their characters, into the overall arc of the story, et cetera, et cetera. Yes. 2 thumbs up. I didn't know that about it. I need to watch the X-Files. I missed the X-Files.
It's awesome. It's a 10 out of 10.
But meanwhile, they can't really do much because a big ale storm comes, like unprecedented. It went on for days and days, and they were repairing the roof, repairing lost and broken shingles, and what it said after 10 days. So there was 10 days of rain. And I don't know if they said that if that was like part of what was going on, or was it just a coincidence?
Yeah, it seems to be a coincidence.
Okay,
they were just hit by bad weather because the clouds were dark when Flick ran into Al-Anon as well, and it was windy.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Well, there we go. Maybe I'm just reading, too much into it. And then let me see. There's a letter for them from someone called Leah. And I'm not sure what that's all about.
Oh, Leah is a place. The guy who sent it, his name is Menion Lee, right?
Oh yes. I
And
was like, wait. Okay.
he's seemingly their friend, and hasn't heard from them for a while.
Okay. Because he
And
was like the biggest wastrel in the entire Southland.
yeah,
Yeah.
and Flick doesn't like him either.
Yeah, he's pretty he's not shy about that. He really does not care for him.
Yeah, apparently sometime when they had been hunting way back, they had almost been eaten by wolves or something, and Flick blames Menion for it.
Okay. Well, that would suck. Okay, and that Minnie and Leon, he invited them to visit. Yeah, he is the son of kings and able to live any way his chooses. He says a kingdom the size of the puddle. Yeah. I don't know why this went out of my brain cells. I think maybe because my brain cells were exploding so much at this point because I had gone straight from there to this next one. Okay, so they're just basically introducing us again to another character. And then meanwhile, there's another stranger, and this is the one where I felt he was like Strider. The way he was like, there's a stranger there, and he's wrapped in a green cloak, seated at a table several feet away from the fireplace. His back to Flick. And he's like, how do I... oh, wait, I'm sorry. He says, there are no times for games. Your caution is well advised, but I am not a bearer of the skull mark. I am a friend of Alanon. My name is Balinor. My father is Rule, blah, 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 the king of Calahorn. And the brothers recognized his name instantly, but Shay was not taking any chances. How do I know you are who you say you are? He said. The stranger smiled. The same way I know you, Shay, by the 3 elfstones you carry in your shirt pocket. The elfstones given you by Alanon. And they're like, dude. And then he says, what happened to Alanon? I cannot be sure, said the big man softly. I have not seen nor heard from him in over 2 weeks. So you get a feeling that, something bad happened to him. And again, that's where I was also feeling some of that Aragorn thing, because the way Gandalf didn't show up the way he was supposed to. And then he says, you got to go, man. You must flee the valley immediately. And he says, I just can't pick up and leave. He goes, you can and you will if you wish to stay alive. And so help me, I heard Arnold Schwarzenegger's voice going, come with me if you want to live.
I kind of did too. That's funny.
Okay, good. I'm not the only one. I was like, oh my gosh, it's the Terminator. Okay. Oh, thank you, Hound. He's got to go to sleep. Wow, it's a one to name him. Oh, I forgot you were in the future. Well, I hope the future's good. Good night, good morning, good afternoon. Okay, have a nice
Good
evening.
night.
Yep.
Sleep well.
Mm-hmm. Thank you for being here. So basically he's saying, pick up and leave, go. And they're like, and this guy's like, you're gonna die, dude. He said, the bearers of the skull suspect you are in the valley. And again, that's that kind of ring race thing, like they were coming to get him. But even if these people aren't necessarily ring race.
Exactly.
Yeah. And then he said he was going to act as a decoy, and he went running off. And Shay's like, well, I guess I gotta go. And then Flick.
Oh, and I think he also said that the Druid keep was under attack or something, which is why Alanon left.
Oh yes.
Oh,
I think so.
Let me go back. When I left it,
Or maybe it was in Alanon's letter. I don't know.
Yeah. Crap. Well, no, in Alanon's letter, he just said something happened. Something of greatest importance had returned, and I must leave immediately. He never actually tells it in the letter.
Well, could be Balinor said it then.
Yeah, there's a rumor. Oh, there it is. There was a rumor of an attack against the keep. He was afraid for the. He sent me here to protect you. I would have reached you sooner. Oh, okay, there you go. So blink and you miss it. Okay, so Valinor the Surfer Dude. What the hell? Oh, hello, Corey. Thank you for being here, and thank you for Geek Hero Bubba. Oh, well, thank you very much. I do appreciate you for
Aw.
subscribing, and thank you for being here. We're talking about the Sword of Shannara, Chapter 3. But make a long story short, Flick goes, I'm going with you. So that did remind me of Sam. And he goes, I can't have you doing that. Father would never understand. He said, remember what Alamor said, I'm in this with you. You're my brother. I can't let you go alone. Aww.
They should
That's
have killed the
sweet.
dad.
Oh
Just
man.
killed him just because he wouldn't understand.
Yeah.
Just
Oh.
stab him.
Oh my gosh. So then they all pack up and off they go. And this is a short chapter, but you see, I was starting to feel some urgency here. And so it's pitch black when Shay was awakened by the hand on his arm. He had been sleeping lightly, his heart pounding. A quick hiss reached his ear, and abruptly he recognized Flick's broad features. And he goes, Flick clapped a hand over his mouth, which, could have ended very badly. In the gloom, Shay could see deep lines of fear in his brother's face. He said, don't speak. The window. Quietly. And so they crawl toward the window, and when they reach the wall, Flick pulled him to the side. By the building. Look. Frightened beyond description, he raised his head to the windowsill and carefully peered over into the blackness beyond, and he saw the creature almost immediately. A huge, terrible black shape stooped in a half crouch as it crawled, dragging itself slowly through the shadows of the buildings across from the inn. And I'm thinking, no, thank you. It humped its back covered by a cloak. Its humpback covered by a cloak that rose and billowed softly as something beneath pushed and beat against it, and a rasping sound of its breathing. Shay clutched the sill tightly, his eyes locked on the approaching creature. In the instant before he ducked below the open window, he caught a clear glimpse of a silver pendant fashioned in the shape of a gleaming skull. Dun, dun, dun. So the time for debate is over.
Yeah, and cliffhanger.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because they're still stuck in the room. It's I thought that was a great ending to the chapter, and I'm assuming, I have not read on, but I'm assuming they're gonna go, I don't know, running off. I'd get the hell out of there.
Yeah, but how without being seen?
Yeah.
This creature is obviously comfortable in the dark.
Geek Hero Bubba in the chat says he hasn't read a lot of this, but he has read the Magic Kingdom of Landover books, which is 6 books. It's more humor fantasy written by Terry Brooks. They're awesome. So if anyone wants to just read fun stories, those are great. They're not too goofy, or it's not Monty Python or anything, but it's fun and lighthearted.
Yeah. Okay, well, there you go. Another recommendation. We like to recommend things at Miss Martin Muses because we're happy that way. No, that's great. Great to see you again. Great to see you here. Great for the suggestions, and thank you, Steve, because I wouldn't have known what those books were.
You have book 1.
I know, because that was that group of books you had me order. I just don't know what they are. I blindly obey when I'm told to buy things, and
now you have more great stuff to read.
Exactly.
Win-win.
Oh, it is a win-win, and I have not regretted any of it, especially with the way things are just such crap nowadays. It's like, why read crap when you can go back and read good stuff? Everyone's saying hi to each other. I love it. I love the way everyone's having fun and talking to each other. So, before we conclude our discussion of chapter 3 here, I don't know, Rennie, I felt like this was continuing what happened before. It was almost like a cause and effect thing. It's like we were told what was going to happen, and then it happened. I didn't know what your thoughts were in this chapter.
No, that's exactly right. So first of all, you find out that Al-Anon was telling the truth, right? He knows what he's talking about. Maybe we should listen to him. And then this is, for me, this is the chapter when it really started getting good. Like chapter 2 was like, you know, it's pretty decent, but chapter 3 was when I really, really started getting a lot of interest and wanted to read more. And I'm like, no, I can't read more. I don't have time. I've got to get out of bed. I've got to do this. I got to do this. And so I really started getting intrigued by, okay, so what is this thing? We saw it in chapter 1, and now it's like, you know, or I'm assuming that's what was in chapter 1 in the sky. And now we see it down on the ground. So what exactly is it, you know? And then also not just that, but we see Flick going from this dude's full of crap to like, holy crap, you got to check this out. We may need to go. It's like, holy, now it's getting interesting. So yeah, I thought it was a very interesting chapter. I didn't, you know, Al-Anon, I'm not sure how I feel about him, but I felt like we didn't get enough of Balinor. So I'd like to see more of him, but you know, I have no idea where this is going just yet. So I'm very excited to find out.
Yeah. Yeah, well said. I feel that way too. I feel like you got an adventure. We're going on an adventure.
Exactly.
Like they said in The Hobbit. Oh boy, yeah.
Is it secret? Is it safe?
Yes. Oh, how about you, Stieg?
What's the question?
Oh. Okay, that's it. You're kicked out. No, just in general, this thoughts on the third chapter and where we're going. And
it's it intensifies the story, especially with the way the cliffhanger is. And you know, Al-Anon is off doing something that might be dangerous and important, right? And we're introduced to Balinor and indirectly introduced to Menion. And they're all of a sudden in deep shit.
Yeah, the time for questions or the time for woulda, coulda, shouldas are over.
Yeah.
Yeah. And the Minion guy, I just totally, but it was only like in one chapter. Like I said, I think that my brain cells were just going somewhere else. I just totally missed that. But now, you know, you can't unsee it. So I don't know. I'm looking forward to meeting him. I'm looking forward to more of Boromir. I mean,
Balinor.
Balinor and Boromir. Hey, I love Boromir. Yeah. If I could have a Boromir Faramir sandwich, I mean, that would just
Woot.
Well,
Lock
that
the doors
escalated
for like a
quickly.
week.
Yeah. Hey, like I've had a really stressful last month. Okay. I'm giving 0 Fs right now about what anyone thinks of me. So I'm not ashamed. I'm not ashamed. But no, I mean, I do like Boromir and Faramir, but of course not literally. They're not real. But Balinor, I'm looking forward to see more of him and their adventure. And I mean, they have to escape this shadow thing. So I don't think that that's going to be a spoiler. I just say that they will. But I don't know. Yeah, good stuff.
Yeah.
So as we move forward, again, I'm in virgin territory, so I have no clue. I don't know what to look for. I don't know what to look forward to, except, you know, maybe some of the things that we speculated on. And I guess I will be asking both of you if any general commentary at this point at all about this series, impressions, anything that any of you wanted to add, this would be a good time to burden your heart or unburden.
Well, I'm like you, Teresa. So I'm going in blind. So I don't know what to expect, but it's kind of fun doing that, to be honest. So yeah, whenever, like I said, the first chapter, I was just like, oh man, this is rough. I don't know if I'm going to make it. But then, that scene where Flick tries or attempts to attack Al-Anon. And Al-Anon's like, yeah, no, not happening. I could tear you in half kind of thing. I thought that was that's when it started piquing my interest a little bit in the first chapter. And then, you have that ominous figure and all that. And, Al-Anon, like, kind of knowing more about Flick than, we thought. That was kind of cool. And, the history was kind of tough to get through in chapter 2, but at the same time, I found it pretty fascinating, to be honest. So this, this isn't the past, or this isn't a medieval world, so to speak. It's our future. It's post-apocalyptic and everything's destroyed. So I thought that was really cool to learn. And then, now, things are actually hitting the fan in chapter 3. And it's like, okay, Al-Anon wasn't kidding. We've got to go and we've got to do this. And, we have to save our butts, so to speak. So I'm very curious as to where this is going to go next. So it's got my interest for sure.
Yay. Okay. And Steve, I didn't know if you had any final thoughts.
Well, like I said, this sets it apart from Tolkien big time. That the fact that it's our world after an apocalypse, really, long after an apocalypse, and so far each character that we've been introduced to so far has been well established already. Which is actually not that easy to do in so few chapters, if you think about it.
Yeah, I mean, what 50 pages? 50.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We already know who Shay and Flick are, and Al-Anon.
True.
And we know that Valinor most likely is someone you can trust.
Yes.
Yeah. Agreed.
And we know the shit Al-Anon told them is most likely very, very true, and it's right at the doorstep. Where we left off.
Yeah. Well, and any decisions were taken out of their hands by this point.
Yeah.
Yeah. Cool. Are there going to be any chicks showing up, Steve? You can spoil that.
Yeah.
Yes.
I'm curious.
There's one in this, more than one in the second book.
Okay. Do they have pretty dresses and stuff?
Probably in the second book, yeah.
Oh, okay. Well,
Can't
you know what I
remember
mean.
Don't remember too much about the one in this, but there's a chick in this.
Alrighty. Yay. Because, of course, we can't enjoy this book unless we can see ourselves.
Yeah.
No.
Absolutely.
Because I am obviously a futuristic medieval princess, whatever thing. And,
it would be fun if in 3 chapters the chick shows up and she's a witch. But no. But yeah. There's especially in the second book, both the chicks are vital to the story. And this one, kind of.
Okay.
She's not useless.
Yeah. No, that's fine. Yay. We like chicks as sort of poopas. Yeah. Well, you know what I mean. Come on, you got to have the lady fair or something like that. Not have the lady. Was it Come At Me, Galadriel? I don't know. We just keep seeing the. Well, now we have wet T-shirt Galadriel, apparently. I'm like
completely the other way.
Yeah, it's like, okay, all right. Gimli would not be very happy. All right, well, I want to thank everyone who showed up. Thank you for everyone being in here and everyone that will be listening in the replay. Of course, we had Corey, we had Jacob, Kelvington, Potato Ribbon, hello. Snorta Poopus, we have our animals, we had the Hound, we had Geek Hero. Thank you, Bubba, for coming in, and thank you for subbing. Let's see, who else did if I miss anyone? Tyrone was here. Matt Wilkins, well, he showed up and did what he does. Matt G, if I miss anyone, I sincerely apologize. I want to thank you all for being here. We are going to be reading the next three chapters of this book and continuing. And yeah, I'm now that I'm somewhat relatively a free woman, I'm going to maybe be doing some more streams. I don't want to make any commitment. The one that I know for sure that is going to happen is the triple review. We will be doing the 3 Bruce Willis movies, but some tragic circumstances happened that have put us a little bit back. So maybe it'll be next week or the week after where we can help that. And also, I want to start up the double pick sometime. I don't know. And maybe stay tuned and to my channel, put on the subscribe button because I might start doing my morning musings again. My morning musings is when I spin my little coffee rack, choose a K cup, and whatever comes out of it, I sit and I drink. And once the coffee's done, the stream is done. So, yeah. I used to do those a lot, but things happen. And what else is coming? Oh yeah. Oh, and I will be doing an epic hormonal rant live stream. I think only women allowed, but only women would be the ones that would know about it. The new Persuasion adaptation from Netflix is a disgrace, and I just feel like just having 2 hours of rage. So look for a rage stream coming up too, and I will bring as many rage-filled women as I can with me. And maybe men. I mean, maybe men read Jane Austen. I don't know any, but that's okay.
I haven't met a lot.
Yeah, no, not a lot. No. The only men I know that have watched the movies is because they're very smart and they watch them with their girlfriends, take notes, and they get lucky. Let me put it to you that way. That's what a smart man does. They watch Jane Austen and take notes, and just dress up in a suit and say, "You must let me know how much I ardently admire and love you," and you'll get whatever you want. Bruce Willis made 14 movies in the last 2 years. I'll give you $20 if you can name one. Oh my gosh. No, but I have been told that he has done a lot of output, and now I guess we know because of his tragic circumstances. Good day, mate. Oh gosh, I can't say it like an Australian. I will MU when life is not smashing you in the face like a cricket bat. You see, what the hell? We're all falling apart. What's going on?
Yeah.
I'm so sorry you're being hit with a cricket bat. Well, you know what? Cricket sucks, though. So maybe. Those fighting words. I never got into cricket. I'm sorry. Oh gosh, I'm in trouble. But cricket bats are big. Yeah, you don't want to mess with a cricket bat.
Just watch Shaun of the Dead.
Yeah. Oh, I never got into cricket. Okay, I'm sorry, but we can agree that real football is awesome, right? Good stream. Thank you, Jacob. Thank you for being here. Thank you for reading. It's a great CNL with an earpiece. Kelvington said, I read all of Jane Austen books and loved Downton Abbey. Oh my gosh.
Oh.
Well, then you might enjoy my my epic rant because, again, I'm sometimes one of those, I don't like the whole hate watch thing, except every now and then I want to indulge, and I just feel like, because I always say what really ticks me off. It's been a long time since I've done something that really just ticks me off. I haven't read the books, but I've seen some of the movies. Yeah, a lot of people have too. Yeah. Oh, there it is. I'm in trouble. What? Okay, I'm sorry. You know what? And I shouldn't knock the sport just because I don't enjoy it. So I'm sorry. Yeah.
Oh, we'll be fine.
Yeah. Sword of Poopa says, sorry, no Jane Austen for me, not a romantical bear.
Yeah. Bears can be romantic.
Yeah. Okay, so that's what's coming up. I nothing really scheduled, so just stay tuned. Um, and once again, I want to thank my guest, Rennie. Where can we see you?
Well, it looks like later on today we may be doing a James Bond movie on Mr. Brown Alliance, and also I will be back here next week. You know, luck. As long as I've got luck going on for the next 3 chapters, because yeah, so far so good, and I'm having a blast.
Oh, well, sweet. Well, so thank you for being here. I appreciate it. Do you know which James Bond movie you're going to be watching?
It looks like it's going to be For Your Eyes Only, so I'm going to be rewatching that in a little bit.
Oh, nice.
I think that's the one that Sheena Easton did the main
Oh,
song.
yes. For Your Eyes Only. That is, well, all of the James Bond songs are awesome, but that one is really,
Pretty
really
good.
good. I
Yeah.
like it. Yeah. For Your Eyes Only. Well done. Steve, what's going on?
Nothing much. Me and Mara are doing a thing on Wednesday with our top 10 non-animated TV shows on our channel. It's we do a top 10 every month. So it's coming up. That's it. And probably here on Saturday.
Oh, alrighty. Well, thank you very much for being here. Looking forward to seeing y'all. And if y'all haven't subscribed to Mara, OG, wait, she's under Jade Fire. That's what it is here. So go ahead and give that a watch. They're lots of fun. She also does a cringe on Wednesday night. I sometimes pop in every now and then. It just it depends, but yeah, where Mara and Steve will read the most horrendous, well, the most cringe articles. Sort of Poopa says, "When bears hug, it's not for romance."
Oh dang!
I know. Well, what can I say? It's nature. It's nature. He's just being true to his nature. All right. Well, that's going to be it for today. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for everyone for being here. Have a great day. Have a great day, and be certain. Be certain. I don't know. I don't know what lesson we're supposed to learn from this chapter, but just be certain when you meet a bunch of people and you're giving them some bad news and saying, I'm going to be stalking you and I'm looking for you and talking about Shay, don't just go to bed. Okay. Don't wait till the next morning. If you're going to drop a bombshell, be certain to then fulfill. Don't write any checks that your butt is not going to cash. There you go. That's the message.